The 1990s gave us many unforgettable television shows, but few left an imprint as lasting and culturally powerful as The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. With its vibrant characters, unforgettable theme song, and seamless blend of humor and heart, the series catapulted a young Will Smith from music to superstardom and gave audiences a cast of characters they would cherish for decades. But behind the bright lights and laughter of Bel-Air's mansion, behind the witty comebacks and heartwarming life lessons, there's a story far deeper, one that unfolds away from the cameras. It's a story of real people, talented artists, and for some, a story that ends too soon. In this video, we step away from the glossy sitcom surface and take you into the real lives of the actors who once brought the Fresh Prince to life. Those who, today, are no longer with us. Some are household names. Others played just a few scenes. But all of them helped shape the show into a cultural landmark. And each of them carried their own burdens, personal struggles, behind-the-scenes drama, scandal, heartbreak, and moments of glory that few people truly know about. You might remember James Avery's booming voice as Uncle Phil. But do you know what demons he battled after the cameras stopped rolling? You probably laughed at Sherman Hemsley's surprise cameo as George Jefferson. But have you ever wondered why he retreated from Hollywood's spotlight toward the end of his life? And what of Virginia Capers, Isabelle Sanford, or even actors who only appeared in one episode? What paths did they walk before and after their moment on the show? Some of these stories are inspiring. Some are heartbreaking. Others might just shock you. So the question is, what happened to the actors of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? Where are they now? And what legacies did they leave behind when the final curtain fell? Stick with us to uncover the stories hidden behind the laughter, the truths that the show never revealed. And if you're someone who still hums that iconic theme song, who remembers every clap and punchline, then you'll want to subscribe and follow this journey. Because what we're about to share might change the way you see this beloved classic forever. James Avery wasn't just an actor, he was a force. Born on November 27, 1945, in Suffolk, Virginia, Avery was raised by a single mother in Atlantic City, New Jersey. A poet, a Navy veteran, and a classically trained actor, his life before television was filled with layers, pain, resilience, and a deep hunger for expression. Before ever stepping onto a sitcom set, he had lived through more than most of us could imagine. By the time The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air premiered in 1990, James Avery was 45 years old. Cast as Philip Banks, the stern yet loving uncle to Will Smith's character, Avery didn't just play a role. He embodied a cultural archetype. Uncle Phil became a symbol of black fatherhood on TV. He was firm, passionate, moral, and unforgettable. But the strength he brought to that role was born out of personal experience. Avery once said he never knew his own father growing up, which may be why he poured so much heart into portraying one on screen. What many fans don't know is that off-camera, James Avery was deeply intellectual. He studied drama and literature, had a love for classical music and wrote poetry. But he also struggled with health issues later in life, particularly heart problems. While still working steadily in television and voice acting, his deep, commanding voice brought life to characters like Shredder in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. His physical health began to decline. James Avery died on December 31, 2013, at the age of 68, following complications from open-heart surgery. His death sent a shockwave through fans and former co-stars alike. Will Smith, in a tearful tribute, referred to him as a second father. And it wasn't just a line. Behind the scenes, Avery was known as a mentor to the younger cast members, often guiding them not just as actors, but as people navigating fame and identity. His impact went beyond the screen. Avery's portrayal of Uncle Phil is still referenced today as one of the most powerful depictions of fatherhood in television history. He was thunder and grace, tough love, and unwavering protection. And though he's gone, his voice still echoes in some of the most emotional scenes in sitcom history, the kind that make you laugh one second and cry the next. James Avery didn't just play a great man. He was one. If James Avery was the thunder in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, then Virginia Capers was its warmth. Born on September 22nd, 1925, in Sumter, South Carolina, Capers was more than an actress. She was a Broadway legend, a Tony Award winner, and a woman who carried generations of Southern grace in every performance. Her early life wasn't easy. Raised in a deeply segregated South, Virginia navigated the racial boundaries of her time with fierce determination. She studied voice at Juilliard and worked her way up through stage and screen with raw talent and an unmistakable presence. She was never the most famous name in the credits, but she was always unforgettable. Capers appeared in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air as Hattie Banks, Will's great-grandmother and mother to Uncle Phil. She appeared in only a single episode, but it was enough. In a series filled with bold personalities and sharp humor, Hattie Banks was something different, gentle, wise, grounding. It was a role Virginia didn't just play, she became. You could see generations of struggle and strength in her eyes. Her scenes with James Avery were more than just family reunions. They were moments where the series paused to honor legacy. At the time she appeared on the show, Virginia Capers was in her late 60s, already a seasoned performer who had once stunned Broadway with her leading role in Raisin, the musical adaptation of A Raisin in the Sun. She won a Tony Award in 1974, becoming one of the few black actresses of her generation to earn that level of recognition on stage. But fame, as always, came with its shadows. Though admired in the industry, she never quite broke into household name status. She was the kind of actor who carried entire scenes on her shoulders, but rarely got the spotlight she deserved. Off-screen, she lived a relatively private life. No tabloid scandals, no explosive headlines, just the quiet, unshakable presence of a woman who knew who she was. Virginia Capers passed away on May 6, 2004, at the age of 78 from pneumonia. Her death didn't make national news, but for those who knew her work, it was a devastating loss. For Fresh Prince fans, her brief appearance remains one of the show's most heartfelt episodes. For Broadway lovers, she remains a legend of the stage. She wasn't on screen long, but like any true matriarch, her presence lingered long after she left the room. Asterisk, meet Sherman Hemsley, the fiery judge who sentenced Will to therapy and the real-life legend who sparked one of Hollywood's most vicious feuds. His death in 2012 was shocking, but the war over his fortune? That was downright criminal. Asterisk before he guest starred as Fresh Prince's no-nonsense judge, Sherman Hemsley was George Jefferson, the iconic, strutting bigot America loved to hate. But when the cameras stopped rolling, his life became even messier than his fictional counterparts. Sherman died at 74 from lung cancer, but his body couldn't even be buried for months. Why? A woman named Flora in Chinton claimed to be his secret daughter, demanding his fortune. The truth? Sherman hated children. He left everything to his gay lover, and that's when the legal war began. Asterisk, the courts called it elder abuse. His co-stars called it disgusting. But Sherman? He predicted this chaos. In his final interview, he snarled, "They'll pick my bones clean the second I'm gone." And guess what? They did. Asterisk. Sherman's Fresh Prince role lasted just one episode. But his real legacy? A $50 million fortune fought over by vultures, and a warning to every star, trust no one. Asterisk. Isabelle Sanford wasn't just a guest star. She was television royalty. The first black woman to win a lead actress Emmy. But behind her legendary smile hid a bitter truth. Hollywood discarded her the moment she stopped being the sassy black neighbor. Asterisk. She made history. She broke barriers. So why was she living in a tiny apartment begging for roles? When she died at 86, the answer will make you rethink everything about fame. After the Jeffersons ended, the phone stopped ringing. No more Louise. No more laughs. Just silence. Her final years? A depressing cycle of game show, cameos, and welfare checks. The cruelest twist? Her Fresh Prince appearance in 1993 was supposed to be her comeback, but became her last hurrah. Asterisk, when she died in 2004, only 3 co-stars came to her funeral. 3. For an Emmy winner. Where was Sherman Hemsley? Where was the cast? The truth? The industry that loved her sass, hated her age. Asterisk. Macauman played the therapist who analyzed Will's madness. But his own life story was stranger than fiction. A working actor for 50 years, 172 credits, and a death so quiet Hollywood didn't even notice. He shared scenes with DiCaprio, shared sets with Spielberg, but ask anyone who Macauman was? Crickets. This is the dark truth about character actors. You see them everywhere, but remember them nowhere. From Friends to Seinfeld, Macon was the ultimate that guy actor. But behind the scenes, a crushing secret, severe depression from being eternally unrecognized. His final interview? I'm a human wallpaper of Hollywood. 6 months later, dead at 72. No tributes, no memorials, just gone. When he died in 2005, not one major outlet ran an obituary. Not one. The Fresh Prince therapist who helped millions was erased like a nameless extra. But here's the real question. How many other Macons are out there right now, dying invisible? Asterisk, Pat Crawford Brown played the no-nonsense nurse who put Will in his place. But her real-life ending was far more shocking than anything on screen. She died at 90, the oldest Fresh Prince cast member to pass. But was it really natural causes, or something more sinister? Asterisk, she worked with everyone from Spielberg to Seinfeld. She was in Desperate Housewives and Back to the Future. But her most explosive role? A rumored tell-all book about Hollywood's darkest secrets. A book that never got published after her death. Asterisk, Pat wasn't just an actress. She was a real-life nurse who saw everything. Studio execs' drug habits, A-list affairs, even murder cover-ups. When she announced her memoir, at 89, she joked, "This'll bury more careers than mine." Then, dead within a year. Coincidence? Asterisk. Her family claims she died peacefully. But insiders whisper about missing pages, about a break-in weeks before her death, about a studio head who paid 6 figures to keep her silent forever. The nurse who knew too much? Or just another old actress Hollywood forgot? Asterisk. Helen Paige Camp played Carlton's snobbish date, then died under circumstances so suspicious, even the FBI took notes. At just 60 years old, the youngest Fresh Prince star to die, her accidental overdose reeks of Hollywood's dirtiest secret. Broadway darling, soap opera queen, then nothing. Her Fresh Prince role in 1990 was her last credit before she was found dead with enough pills to kill a horse. Suicide or silencing? Here's what they don't want you to know. Helen was digging into creative accounting on her soap opera. Millions. Names were named. Then, suddenly unhireable at 55. Her final diary entry. They'll kill me if I talk. 3 weeks later, corpse. The coroner ruled accident. The cops closed the case. But the timing? 2 days before she was set to testify about Hollywood's biggest money laundering scheme. And that Fresh Prince check she cashed. Never clear the bank. David Downing played the holy man who married Will and Lisa, but his real life was more dangerous than any script. Civil rights activist, FBI target, and a death so convenient it reeks of cover-up. Asterisk. Before Fresh Prince, Downing wasn't just an actor, he was a threat. J. Edgar Hoover had a file on him. The LAPD called him agitator number 1. So why did this radical suddenly become a sitcom extra in the 90s? His final years? A massive red flag. Once a fiery orator, now mumbling sitcom sermons. Friends say he was different after 1989, paranoid, slurring. Terrified. Coincidence? Or did someone buy his silence? When he died in 2017 at 74, the coroner ruled natural causes. But here's what they won't show you. The missing tox report, the lost FBI files, and the witness who swears he was injected with something backstage. Jerry Gray played the sweet old lady who pinched Will's cheek, but her final act was no comedy. At 72, she vanished from Hollywood under circumstances so bizarre, even the coroner raised eyebrows. Asterisk. Her Fresh Prince role lasted 90 seconds. Her death lasted 90 questions. No family came forward. No co-stars remembered her. Just a body in a morgue labeled Jane Doe for 3 days before someone recognized TV's forgotten grandma. Asterisk. Here's what doesn't add up. Jerry was filming another show the week she died. But that footage? Erased. Her dressing room? Cleaned out before police arrived. And the director's statement? We barely knew her. For an actress with 35 years of credits? The official report says heart failure. The unofficial rumor? She saw something she shouldn't have on set. Something worth killing over. And in Hollywood, where old black actresses are disposable, who would investigate? Hugh Dane played Hillary's boss, but died like Hollywood's dirty secret. Penniless, forgotten, and sleeping on the same streets he once filmed on. This isn't just a tragedy, it's an execution. You know him as Hank from The Office, as Fred from Fresh Prince. But when the cameras stopped, the roles dried up, the money vanished, and the industry that loved his face suddenly forgot his name. Asterisk his final years? A real-life horror show. Evicted, starving, begging fans for rent money while The Office made billions in syndication. And when he died in 2018, not a single network tweeted condolences. Just silence. Asterisk. They gave Steve Carell $1 million per episode. They gave Hugh Dane a cardboard box. And the worst part? He's not alone. Hundreds of character actors are dying like this right now, while Hollywood parties. Richard Roundtree didn't just guest star on Fresh Prince. He was Shaft, the original black action hero, the man who defined cool. But his final years? A brutal secret Hollywood didn't want you to see. He revolutionized cinema, inspired generations. But when cancer came for him, the industry that built statues of Shaft suddenly forgot his name. This is the real story they tried to bury with him. Diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in 1993. Beat it. Then breast cancer in 2017. Survived. But the medical bills? The roles drying up? The humiliating convention appearances just to pay rent? That's what really killed Richard Roundtree. Asterisk. His Fresh Prince cameo in 1996? That was charity from Will Smith. His final role? A straight-to-TV movie where he played a dying grandfather. Art imitating life, or Hollywood's cruel joke. Asterisk. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air gave us more than just catchy theme songs and punchlines. It gave us characters who felt like family, a show that wasn't afraid to blend humor with heartbreak, and a cast that, whether in starring roles or brief appearances, brought a kind of magic that can't be replicated. But as time moves forward, and the credits roll one final time for the actors who once lit up our screens, we're left with stories far richer than the 22 minutes they were given on air. James Avery, the thunderous voice of Uncle Phil, reminded us what strength and vulnerability look like in the same breath. Virginia Capers brought the wisdom of generations into a single embrace. Sherman Hemsley made us laugh with a single look while hiding an inner world no one ever truly saw. And then there were others, names we may have forgotten, but faces that still flicker in our memories. Nurses, judges, reverends, neighbors, each with a story, each with a soul. Some soared after the show. Others faded quietly. A few left us with scandals, others with grace. But they were all part of a television moment that defined an era. They were artists, and they were human. Their deaths remind us not just of what we've lost, but of what they gave, moments that made us laugh, cry, think, and feel. In a world where actors are often remembered only for the roles they played, let this be a moment where we remember who they were, in their pain, their triumphs, their flaws, and their brilliance. As we continue to revisit The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, streaming it late at night or sharing scenes on social media, let's not forget the people behind the scenes, the ones who are no longer here to see the impact they made. Their performances live on. But more importantly, so do their legacies. If these stories moved you, if they made you see these actors in a new light, we invite you to stay with us, subscribe, follow, and keep watching. Because behind every show we love are human stories waiting to be told. And we're just getting started.